Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever lived by yourself in a foreign country? And have you ever felt everything around you was so shockingly different from what you're used to? Welcome back to my channel, my friends. I'm your host, Joy Wu. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on notification bell to become a guest of the Wu Mansion. Today, I'm presenting to you The Arrival by Shaun Tan. This is the story of an immigrant living in a completely different country and his encounters with other immigrants there. In the first chapter, we learned that the main character is leaving his home for a new life in a foreign country. He has a wife and a daughter that he's going to leave behind for a little while. There is this painting of the main character and his wife holding hands over his packed luggage. Because this book does not have any words, it's only made of pages after pages of pencil drawings. We wouldn't know the exact conversation between the man and his wife. However, the drawing itself delivers a powerful message. It shows a worried wife full of emotion, a wife who wishes for the best for the new chapter of her husband's life, a wife who loves her husband dearly, a wife who's also terrified of the future ahead of them. The silence here means everything. Most importantly, it means the deep connection the man has with his wife. And after their daughter wakes up and has breakfast, they walk together to the train station. A drawing of the family walking down the street depicts some shadowy and dragon-like creatures looming over the city, which suggests there's some kind of threat or crisis going on in their city. It could be an economic recession. This could be the reason why the man is leaving the country. When the train arrives, the man takes his hat off to reveal a paper crane sitting on top of his head. Then he gives it to his beloved daughter. The man hugs his daughter and his wife. He says his last goodbye and departs, leaving behind his wife and daughter and the looming creatures in their city. It is a long journey ahead of the man. In the second chapter, the man is on a ship with many other immigrants like him. It is not exactly a comfortable situation because the deck of the ship is crowded with people who are trying to find a new home. The man sitting on his luggage and jotting down something in his notebook. Then he decides to tear off that page and make a paper crane out of it. He looks at the paper crane for a second, as if by staring at it for long enough, his daughter would appear in front of him. He stands up and looks up. There are many flying fish overhead. Everyone looks up to realize they've arrived. At a distance, there are two giants shaking hands. It seems that they are making a deal. They could be the businessmen from two nations that are making a trade because they carry different merchandises in their boats. This could be an indication that this country's economy is heading in a positive direction. After leaving the ship, the man goes through customs. He has to get a physical examination to check his overall health. After each test, they add a labeling sticker to his suit. This makes him more like an imported merchandise than a human being. He also needs to explain to the customs officer how and why he came to this country. It seems that he's having trouble communicating because of the language barrier. At the end, he seems frustrated. He eventually gets his visa and takes a hot air balloon across the city. This is indeed a magical world. Buildings are different. Many buildings here are cone-shaped, and there's a giant bird-like creature situated in the middle of the city. It's holding an egg to its chest. The hot air balloon lands and the man gets off. He strolls the streets and observes people that are out and about. Everything looks unfamiliar to him. There are many fantastical creatures, and some of them are human pets. The language is hard to understand. The timing system works different here, and the man can't read the tower clock. The man also struggles to read a map, but luckily a random stranger offers him help. He finds it almost impossible to communicate, so he makes a sketch of a bed to suggest he's looking for accommodation. The stranger finally understands and asks the man to come with him. The stranger leads him to an apartment building of some sort. The man thanks the stranger and walks in. He checks in with the woman at the reception desk and gets his room key. When he enters the room, he's confused by all the mysterious furniture and objects in the room. He's overwhelmed because the home appliances look odd and don't operate the way the man was used to back home. The man looks exhausted after dealing with all these unfamiliar objects in his new home. But then, he finds this weirdly shaped container. He opens it and boom, there comes a creature that looks like a cross between a dog and a lizard. He's used to seeing mythical animals by this time that it doesn't scare him anymore. The man starts to unpack. He hangs his family photo on the wall and sits down. He stares at it for a long time outside of his apartment building. The day turns into night. The man wakes up the next day to the alien-like creature waiting eagerly on his bed. He gets out of bed and gets ready for the day. The man wants to buy groceries, but he doesn't find what he's looking for. The creature follows him everywhere he goes. He goes to a farmer's market for apples, milk, cheese, bread, fish, etc. Instead, the creature helps him find an odd-looking fruit. He's then greeted by the food seller and his son. The man asks if they have any sliced bread. The seller brings out another odd-looking fruit. He and his son want the man to buy more fruits, so they start introducing each exotic fruit. The man takes a bite of one of the fruits and finds it tastes delicious. He ends up with a whole basket of fruits he's never had before. The seller and his son are very friendly and they ask the man to come along with them to meet their pet. It looks like a fox with a spiky tail. Its spiky tail frightens the man because it reminds him of the dragon-like creature back home. He makes a sketch of what his hometown looks like and shows it to the seller. The seller recollects his own story back in his home country. It appears that many giant men were sucking civilians up using a vacuum cleaner. This could be an implication that his country is ruled by dictatorship. To escape from the tyranny, he and his wife fled the country to come to this peaceful place they now call home. Back to the present, the man's invited to their home for dinner. The food is very different, but just like any other social gatherings. They chat, play the instruments, and the man makes a fox napkin for the boy. They've had a great time together. The man makes some genuine connections and feels more comfortable in this new land. When it's time to leave, the couple gives the man a pot. The man wakes up again the next day to the creature standing on his bed. This time though, the man gives it a bit of attention by patting it on its head. He then gets dressed and makes breakfast. He even feeds the creature his favorite fruit for breakfast. The man starts to interact more with the creature. It's growing on him and is turning into his pet. When the man gets ready to leave, the creature fetches his hat for him. The man is looking for a job today. He asks around if there's any job opportunity, but he's turned down by the restaurant, mechanic shop, convenience store, and public transit cleaning service. When he starts to feel tired, the creature discovers a wall poster pasting job for the man. So poster pasting is the first job the man's had in this country. And it does not end well. He's messed up because he doesn't understand the language on the poster and has pasted every poster upside down. Following this unpleasant experience, the man's had another terrible experience working as a delivery guy. Eventually, he lands a job at a factory. He works at an assembly line with many other people, and his job requires him to collect defective products and recall them through a tube, which is very tedious. Then out of the blue, the old man working across from him offers him a drink. The man takes it, and the old man starts telling his story. When he was a young man, he was drafted into the army. The day they were leaving the village, he waved goodbye to a woman he liked. He then experienced violence, destruction, and the death of his comrades. He came back to his hometown after losing one leg in the war, only to find the whole village got destroyed and no one survived. By the time he finishes his story, it's time to leave work. After they receive the payment for the day, the old man asks the man to come with him to meet some of his friends. They meet at a sport course. The old man introduces the man to his friends who are all immigrants from different parts of the world. They also have pets with them, and the pets greet each other in a friendly manner just like their owners. Then they start playing a unique sport. This is such a beautiful drawing that shows man finally becomes part of the culture and a citizen of this land. In the next chapter, the man reads a letter to his family and folds it into a paper crane. He mails the letter by using a post box connected to a hot air balloon, hoping his family would receive the letter soon. A full year has passed, and nothing much has changed, except that there are a family of birds living in the pod that the man was gifted. The man gets a letter in the mail. He's overjoyed because it's a letter from his family. He notices a hot air balloon in the sky outside of his apartment and leaves his room to catch it. When the hot air balloon lands, his wife and daughter come out with a tense facial expression because everything feels unfamiliar to them. However, the moment the man calls out to capture their attention, all of their worries melt away. The man's finally reunited with his family. Some time has passed since his wife and daughter moved into their new home. They are now a happy family, blending in perfectly with the local community. These 9 panels make a comparison with the previous 9 panels that depict their past life. Although their lifestyle has changed, different environment, furniture, home appliances, utensils, food, their love for each other haven't changed a bit despite their circumstances. This day, the daughter finishes breakfast with her parents and the pet and leaves their home to run some errands. She comes across a newcomer who struggles to read a map, and the story ends with the girl showing the new arrival where she can go. Tan creates this imaginary world to vividly illustrate what it feels like in an unfamiliar environment. He explains, in order to best understand what it's like to travel to a new country, I wanted to create a fictional place equally unfamiliar to readers of any age or background, including myself. I really like the sense of community in this book. Each person does not live alone. They live alongside other human beings, and it's part of their responsibilities to help other citizens. Even though the main character is faced with many challenges when he first travels to the country, he's helped by many strangers. Every kindness and friendly gesture he's received along the way make his journey adapting to a new environment easier. And in return, the main character's daughter offers help to a newcomer at the end of the story. The stories now come full circle. Congratulations, folks! You've reached the end of this video. Let me know down below your thoughts on The Arrival by Shaun Tan. You're more than welcome to hang out here a bit longer, but I gotta go, and I'll see you soon. Peace.